The Chitrik Academy is dedicated in loving memory of Rabbi Tzvi Hirsh Chitrik.
Welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to start from Amar Mar. The line starts Mina, Amar Mar, until Boy Mine. The line starts Zil. Our Gemara is based on a previous brisa which we mentioned in the previous share. Amar Mar, let us begin. Amar Mar, the master said, the Tana of the brisa had written, Chaviyos shel yayin, if a person finds barrels of wine, v'shel shemen, or barrels of oil, v'shel tfua, or barrels of grain, v'shel gregres, or barrels of dried figs, v'shel zeisim, or barrels of olives, the halacha is, Perek Eilu Metzios, the finder may keep it. This is the end of the brisa. Now the Gemara is going to ask a question from a Mishnah. Vatnan, it says in a Mishnah, whenever it says Tanan, it always refers to a Mishnah. Vatnan, it says in a Mishnah, Kade yayin, jugs of wine, the Kade shemen, and jugs of oil, chayav lahachriz, they need to be returned. They need to be called out. The finder must try to return them. So seemingly the Gemara is saying, the question, let's put the question mark from Vatnan, from over here. The Gemara is asking, in the brisa we had just mentioned, it says that barrels of wine or of oil, the finder may keep it. But we see a Mishnah that says that barrels or jugs of wine and oil, the finder must return it. So it seems like a contradiction between the brisa and this Mishnah. This is the Gemara's question. Let's go to the board. Both the brisa and the Mishnah are referring to barrels of either wine or oil that was found. In the brisa it says the finder is allowed to keep it. However, the Mishnah it says that the finder is not allowed to keep it and must return it. So this is the Gemara's question. Let's move on with the Gemara's answer. The Gemara's answer starts from Amar Rav Zera. Let's make an answer on an A for answer on the side. Amar Rav Zera Amar Rav. Rav Zera said in the name of Rav, Masnisim, the Mishnah that says that the owner must return the barrels, Birashum, is referring to a case where the barrels were resealed. Meaning, let's go to our board. The reason why in the Mishnah a person is not allowed to keep the barrels that he finds is because it's not a regular barrel. A regular barrel, which is sealed, it looks like any other ordinary barrel, and the owner can never claim it because how is he going to prove that it belongs to him, that it's his barrel of wine? However, in our Mishnah, it's referring to barrels that were opened, and you can see that they were resealed. Someone took plaster and resealed the edges of the barrel. So because it's resealed, the owner could prove that it belongs to him. He can either prove how it was sealed, he has a siman, or the fact that he knows that it was resealed. If it's not visible, if it's not obvious, that would be a good siman, and therefore he does not give up on finding it, and therefore the finder needs to return it. So this is the Gemara's answer. The brisa speaks about ordinary barrels, which the owner gives up on finding because there are many barrels around. However, the Mishnah is referring to barrels that were resealed. Now let us return to the Gemara. So now the Gemara is going to ask a question that if the Mishnah is referring to barrels that are sealed, Michlal de brisa bipasuach, is our brisa speaking about barrels which are open? The Mishnah speaks about barrels that are sealed. Is the brisa speaking about barrels that are open? If the barrels are open, aveda midasi, the person intentionally lost his item. He doesn't plan on claiming it. So why does the brisa need to teach us that the finder may keep it? Obviously the finder may keep it because it's obvious because the owner gave up on finding it. What does this mean? The question the Gemara is asking is that seemingly the Gemara thinks at this point that this brisa is referring to a case where the barrel is actually, the cover is off. The cover is open. In such a case, the brisa asks, if it's open, let's just write this down. If it's open, then different animals could come inside and drink from whatever's in the barrel. So for sure the person finds may keep it, because the owner, because he left a open barrel, he for sure give up on finding it or on getting it back, because he doesn't want it back, because he knows it's disgusting. So obviously the finder may keep it. Why does the Brisa need to teach us that the finder may keep it if the barrel is open? That is the Gemara's question. So let's see the Gemara's answer. Rabbi Ishia is going to answer this question. Rabbi Ishia. The Brisa is referring to a case not where the barrel is open, rather, b'meitzitz. It's referring to a case where the barrel is covered. And therefore, it's not a case where it is open and the animals could come inside. No, it's a case where the barrel is closed. It's not resealed, but the barrel is closed, and therefore we would think that maybe the owner would come to reclaim it. Comes the Brisa tells us that no, the owner who lost his barrel would not come to reclaim it, because there are many barrels and he does not have a siman of what his barrel looks like. So this is the difference between the Brisa and the Mishnah. So this is one answer that the Gemara has given us. Answer number one was Rabbi Ishia, that the difference between the Brisa and the Mishnah is that the Brisa was, let's just go back to our board. The Brisa was referring to a case with a cover, a regular barrel with a cover on top, and then the Mishnah was with a resealed barrel. So this is why it's not a contradiction, a stira between the Brisa and the Mishnah. Let's just make a 1 over here. This is answer number 1 from Rabbi Ishia. Now Abaye is going to give us another answer why the Brisa and the Mishnah are not a contradiction. Why the Mishnah says a person who finds a barrel needs to return it, and the Brisa says a person may keep it. Abaye says, answer number 2, afilu tema, even if we can say idi v'idi barashum. Both the Brisa and the Mishnah are referring to cases where the barrels were resealed. So let's get rid of that, and let's reseal both of these barrels now. This is according to Abaye. Both of them were resealed. They were opened and resealed. So how come in the Brisa the finder may keep it, and the Mishnah the finder may not keep it? So let's see in the Gemara. He says they're both referring to when the barrel has been resealed. But like kasha, but it's not a contradiction. Kan kaidim shniftcho eitris. Here, in the case of the Mishnah, it's referring to a case before the wine makers opened their cellars. We'll explain what this means in a minute. Bekan la'achar shniftcho eitris. And here, in the case of the Brisa, it's after they opened up the eitzer, the cellars. What does this mean? Let's go to our board. The way it would work in those days was that a winemaker would make the wine. So by him, he had barrels of wine in his cellars. He always had barrels of wine. And the store owners would come to the winemaker, taste the wines, and if he liked it, he would reseal it and bring it back to his store. That's the way it would work. Now, there are different seasons when a person would buy wine. So, if we see, let's just seal these barrels, because we're referring to cases where it was resealed. So, if a person finds a barrel in the season where, before the owners of the stores come to winemakers, for example, if the store owners come Pesach time to the winemakers to buy wine, and someone found a barrel of wine during the month of Shvat, or during the month of Teves, then if a person says that my barrel, if a person lost a barrel and comes to the finder and says my barrel was resealed, then that's a good siman. Because most barrels at that point are all closed, are all sealed, have never been opened. Because the store owners have not come yet to taste the wine, to choose which wine they want to sell. Therefore, if someone says, my barrel was open and resealed, then it would be a good siman. And therefore, if someone would find the barrel that was resealed, he would need to return it. And this is the case of our Mishnah. He cannot keep it, but he needs to return it. Because this is referring to a case where it's before the time that the store owners come to buy wine. However, in the Brisa that says if a person finds a barrel of wine, even if it was resealed, he may keep it. It's during the time of Nisan, where the store owners have already come many times to the winemakers and have tasted the wine, and there are many barrels of wine that have been opened and resealed. In such a case where there are many barrels of wine that have been resealed, if a person comes and says, I lost a barrel of wine and it is resealed, it is not a good siman, because it was very common at that point to have resealed barrels. And this is a case of the Brisa, when a person may keep it. So let's just write this down. During the month of Nisan, that is when we say that the person may keep it because many wine barrels have been opened and resealed. So according to Baya, our Brisa is referring to the time of Nisan, where the store owners have already come to taste the wine. However, the Mishnah would be speaking about a case of, for example, let's say Teves time, where it's not common to have barrels that have been opened and resealed. Therefore, it would be a good siman, and the finder may not keep it. And this is Abaye's answer to this stira. And Abaye is going to actually bring an example to this. Kihad of Yaakov bar Ava, like in the case of Yaakov bar Ava, Ashka chavita de chamra, he found a chavita, a barrel de chamra of wine, and the achar shenivtchu ha'itris, it was ready in the season, the later season, like the season of Nisan, where the cellars, the itris, were already opened. Also, kamei Abaye, so he came to Abaye and asked him what the halacha is. Amar lei, and Abaye had told him, Zil shakal lenafshacha, you're allowed to take it for yourself. Zil shakal lenafshach, you're allowed to keep it for yourself, because Abaye holds that in this season, it is not a siman, and the owner may keep it. And this is the end of this lesson.